Alright, so today, basically, I'm going to be doing some removal in the 300C here. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. And I'm going to be removing the hood because it only has one support and it makes it kind of difficult for me to work on what I need to work on today. So that's going to be the first order of business as soon as I get the right socket. Okay, so no kill like overkill, I suppose. It's the right sizing for my wrench, but it is a 13mm, but it's a beef well. But that doesn't matter because it'll work just as well as soon as I get my hooks around it. And having done this before already, it's going to be a little bit easier for me to do now. That is to say, I've done it with the Challenger, not with this. This is the first time of me removing this particular car's hood, but same dang thing basically. Just got a couple little bolts, and then the hood itself will come off of the hydraulic unit. Just lights up. Now it's still attached on a support structure like this right here. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's still attached to a support structure like this on the other side. It's just the hydraulic unit is missing for whatever reason. So now it's going to be a matter of going over there, detaching that one, and we are free of the hood. So I'm going to go do that right quick. And be ready for it to come like right off like it did on the other side. Be ready for that, so that way it doesn't go back into your windshield or anything, because that could be disastrous as well. There we go. Ideally you would have two people to remove a hood, but this is where we're at right now. So just kind of tilt it forwards a little bit like so. And keep the windshield wiper fluid thing attached at this point, which it probably shouldn't be, honestly. You probably should detach that first. Of course, I am talking about this little line right here. Probably detach that first and remove all of that, but I'm not quite as concerned with that on this one. But as you'll see, it's behind the insulation here. There's a couple little areas where the hose attaches, and you can just kind of open those up and detach them. But I think I'll be quite fine. You might want to keep up with your bolts and other things that go to the hood, so that way you can always put it back on easily, and you don't have to try and find the bolts in your local hardware store or anything, because spoiler alert, you might not have the greatest luck with that. I've tried to find these before, and I had to just go with the next closest thing, which wasn't exactly the same as these. It was just kind of about the right size, and I used a washer. These are like inclusive of both. This thing right here does not remove. The little washer looking thing is part of the bolt. It does not remove unless you absolutely strip out the bolt, or at least that is the luck that I've had with it. So yeah, what I'm wanting to remove is the side fenders, the side skirts here. I'm trying to remove those from the vehicle and set them aside, because I'm trying to get a visual together in my head, and I feel like I can better do so without the fenders. Plus, I really just kind of don't want these fenders. So in order to do that, what we're going to do, we're going to remove these little bolts down here, which are of course smaller, but we're going to remove those little bolts there, and we should be able to remove that panel. Matter of fact, right there is the proper one, the one I had on there originally, the 10mm. So So sometimes when you work on stuff, you have little happy accidents that happen. And I just had a little happy accident that happened. Do you know how I'm using the extended piece here? That's actually a good idea. It's not at all a bad idea, because you see the way this kind of hangs down right here? This little piece of the frame hangs down right here. It would otherwise be in the way, and I'd have to just do like regular ratcheting. But since I use the extended wrench, since I use the extension piece, it clears the frame just fine, and I can just kind of spin it freely without interference, making it much more efficient to loosen up these bolts. And then once these come out, I can pull my little side panels off, or my side panel, this first one, then I can go and complete the work on the other one, and it will come off. So voila. Happy accidents are some of the best damn things sometimes. Basically what we had going on in there is, this is kind of like a slotted like piece. It'll slide up behind these things right here, and then they just kind of tighten them down, and then the rest of the fender bolts on from there on the top side, like you saw, like what I removed. So it's just slotted, and all I had to do was loosen it up a little bit. I didn't need to completely remove them, just loosen them up a little bit by turning them that way, and I could slide it right off. These might be a tiny bit bent now, but it's okay. It should still be perfectly fine should I put them back on. But now we can just set the fender aside here very well, and we can get started on the other side, and we can pull it right off. Just like that, it comes right off. All right, so yeah, now we've got both fenders on each side taken off. So it's already starting to look a lot more interesting just with that removal, I think. Now, I mean, I'm not going down to, at least it's not in the plans right now, to just be going down to bare bone and running with it that way. But I mean, at least not for permanent sake. I do want to, like I said, come up with some interesting redesigns to put on this thing, but I'm just trying to get a better visual for what it looks like without the skin on it right now. So that way I can kind of better, I don't know, adjust for what I'm, trying to do. As for what I'm trying to do, that is going to be a complete surprise. I'm going to do one more simple little thing here today. Well, it's simple in that it's well, simple, not difficult, but it's going to be kind of tedious and time consuming. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of the yellow lettering on the side of it for the company that used to that it used to represent or whatever, but I'm not really going to bother making a video about that because it's literally just me peeling letters off the side of the car. So I'll get back to you all when I'm done with that. Maybe with an outro, maybe with some interesting tidbit, I don't know. But either way, I'll get back to you all here in a little bit. In the last video that I posted, I mentioned that basically I'd solved the starting car problem, and that was not entirely the case. Like, I did for that moment, but then I did not test it until later. Like, I went back out, like I think it was a day or so later, to try and start it back up. It would not crank back up until I jumped the car off. When I jumped it off, it ran beautifully, it ran fine. Then as soon as I shut it off, it would not start back up again, like immediately. Like immediately after I turned it off and tried to turn it back on, it would not start back up. So I did wind up, in fact, having to go buy a brand new battery for wow, I really need to drain this. I really need to get that water out of there. That can't be good for the battery either. But yeah, basically I did end up going and getting a brand new battery for the Chrysler here, because basically when I went to go get it tested, they said, yeah, it was like dead, like it was dead, like it would not hold a charge, dead. So it got drained real bad from the light, I guess, being on all the time and the thing. But that's no longer a problem. That's disconnected. There's no more trunk ajar thing hooked up, nothing. So that's a thing of the past. There's absolutely no issues with that anymore. It has been starting up every time since then. It has not been losing a charge. It has not had any problems at all at this moment. So as you can see, I was able to move it up, cranked right up. So the battery, the brand new battery, really helped with that. That's what the issue was with that. Thank goodness it wasn't anything more expensive or extravagant or worse off. But yeah, now the problem appears to in fact actually be fixed as far as that goes. Anyway, I'm going to go charge the GoPro, and I'm going to hit this with the heat gun and see how much better that does, and then get back with you all on that. I'm not really 100% certain how I'm going to take care of this little back end issue here, but I'm suspecting that it's going to come down to basically one of two options, and that is either, I mean, I wasn't originally going to say specifically, but I'm going to now. But option A is either just try and cut out this section of panel and then see what I've got going on below it, or try and take out any bolts and stuff securing it and pull that whole damn thing off. Those are my two options. Now, the more reasonable of the two obviously seems to be to just cut that section out, and then I just have this whole remaining sort of body panelage going on that quarter of the car. And a good thing, once again, it's a good thing that this was not on the side that the gas tank was, because it would get a lot more complicated, in my opinion, to work around that, because I'd feel a lot safer draining the gas and then cutting it if it was on that particular side. But that being on this side, on the passenger side, where the gas tank is not, I feel a little bit more secure in where I can cut to take care of this issue. And I think that's basically my best bet in the long run, is to just cut that section out and see what we're dealing with frame damage wise anyway, because I'm pretty sure I'm just saying, pretty sure there's a little bit of subframe damage under there somewhere, but that goes without saying, I guess. But this build is just starting to get interesting. It's just, well, it's literally just beginning, you know, so there's a lot more to be done, a lot of ground to be covered and all that to kind of get to the end game of where I want to be with it, which is basically a very unique vehicle to run quarter miles and eighth miles and everything else kind of things with. Just have fun with, rip in, you know, and just go at it, man. That's kind of basically going to be hopefully the gist of it. I mean, basically, that's the end of this video, and if you like the video, like the video. If you hate the video, dislike the video. Both of those are perfectly valid options here. Leave me some comments below. Tell me what's on your mind. I also have social media, my Instagram linked in the description of this video, just like all the rest of them. And oh yeah, notifications. Notifications are another good one. All these are great ways to keep up with what I'm doing and when I'm posting and all that good stuff. And I'll see you all in the passenger seat. Oh yeah, next ride.